we talked about question tags. Question tags are a way of confirming information which we believe to be true already. So it's just a way of confirming it. We use question tags to confirm it. And you have examples like didn't it, don't you, doesn't he. It could be about any subject pronoun, any person. But the idea, you should typically use the pronoun itself. We don't use names.
What's the problem?
Hello?
What's the problem?
Hello? You have?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear us?
How are you?
Hi.
Any problem now?
What problem? There's no problem. Did I say there's a problem?
Yes, because I listen some song.
You're listening to some song?
Yes.
What song?
Just relax music.
You mean there's music now? You can hear music?
Yes, yes.
From the meeting, from Zoom, you can hear music?
Yes, from meeting.
Can anybody else hear
no,
music?
For me, I don't listen any.
No.
I don't hear anything.
Me too.
Just the teacher.
Maybe there's music in your head. You have maybe.
No, I don't have.
But
maybe he have go out and then come again.
No, yeah, I will.
Okay, yeah. Try signing out and coming back again. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So maybe it'll be better. Music, so weird. Okay, so let's continue. Can you hear me clearly? Is my sound clear? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you very well.
All right, great, that's good. So I was just reviewing question tags, and
now it's okay.
Now it's okay.
Now it's okay.
All right, good. So I was talking about question tags, and we use it to confirm information which we think is true. So this is the idea how we use question tags. We talked about it yesterday. After that, we did the ED adjective exercise. So here, the focus was syllable stress. We talked about syllable stress and how to tell the difference between different adjectives. And we divided the groups into 5 groups, the 1-syllable adjectives, and then we had 2 2-syllable adjectives. We did that too. And we also had 2 different patterns for 3-syllable adjectives. So we finished that. And in today's lesson, we're going to talk about a couple of new things. Actually, not a couple, almost 4 different ways.
I think we missed something, Doctor. The writing part here. We didn't do the part of writing.
Is there writing?
I think it's the last question, I think. No, here.
Not here?
Here, reading and writing, yeah?
This is the workbook.
Okay.
Yeah, because it says describing a holiday in the workbook, reading an email. You can find this in your workbook. And some of the other activities, the other extra activities are in the CD. I think you can, if you find it, you can download it. It's a DVD. There are extra exercises, but I think if you use the workbook on its own, it's more than enough. Okay. So yeah, this is just extra information.
Because here I reading the writing in formula, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Formula writing.
Ellipsis of words, but this is in the workbook.
And formula writing, yes.
It's not here because you can
Okay.
find this if you go to the back of your workbook. At the end of the
Yeah.
workbook, there's a section for reading and a section for writing. You can find
Okay.
it. You can find it in your workbook. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Why the workbook isn't PDF form?
It's a PDF. The workbook is a PDF.
No, it's
Haja.
like pictures.
Yes. Even me. Yes, it's like
Yeah.
picture.
Mm,
Like a book in the table and take the picture from the book.
Yeah.
This is not the right copy.
Isn't the PDF? Yeah.
Yeah. Because one of the copies I downloaded had a problem. This was the one I sent you.
Yes, me too.
You have the same copy, right, Malak?
Yeah.
Okay, remind me to send you, because there's another copy I had, which is similar to this one, the one that we're using here, similar to a real PDF.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have it, but I think I sent you the wrong one. Okay, so I'll send you the right one. And when you get the good copy, you just go to the back of the workbook. There's an extra section on reading and writing. If you take a look at it, you can find lots of relevant information similar to this one. Because in the student book, they just remind you, they tell you you can do these extra activity. So all of this is extra practice, yeah.
But in this course, we will do writing section or no?
Separately, you mean separately, writing? No, if it's not included in the exercises of...
I mean, in this book, there is a writing...
not really, no. There isn't writing.
Okay.
There's no writing, no. Because most of the writing activities, we just do them in speaking. Because it's writing, it has to be separate if it's an online course. So we can have like a separate writing course where you can do, for example, the assignments, and you can do things, and then I mark them or check them. But within the lesson itself, it's almost impossible because there's just not enough time to cover the units in the book and also do separate writing.
Okay.
All right, so let's check our topic for today. Did you finish number 1, the collocations? Let's see your answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 1,
Yeah.
Najat already answered it. Take work home.
Take.
What about time to relax? What should we use?
Have time to relax.
Okay, so we should have time to relax. What about number 3, Ihab? What do you think? Long hours. Which verb do you think is more suitable? Is it better?
Work long hours.
Work long hours. That's better than, because we cannot say get long hours. Yes. Is it noisy? Can you hear some noise?
Yes, there is a noisy.
Okay, just a second, because it's the rain.
Which hard, the pre-intermediate or intermediate course?
The intermediate is above the pre-intermediate. So
pre-intermediate,
it's more
it's
hard.
hard. Yes, I feel that.
Sorry, what's your question? You have?
Number 3.
Number 3.
Work long hours.
Work long hours. You were asking about intermediate.
Yes, any hard. Which hard? I feel hard pre-intermediate than intermediate.
No,
pre-intermediate
just
harder
because
than
you are in the beginner.
You mean difficult than?
Yes.
Maybe.
Just,
I don't know.
I don't know, but just feel it.
No, you'll have some fun. Don't worry. Okay.
I think it's intermediate. It's difficult than pre-intermediate.
Yeah, of course, it's logical.
Yeah, because the level.
Yeah, every level is a little more detailed, so it's more difficult.
Yes.
This is just you can't judge the book by one exercise, because here in this exercise you have the focus is on work. Collocations, they're focusing on collocations, which is the suitable matching or the most appropriate verb for an expression. So if you want to talk about long hours, you can say I work long hours. But maybe when you're in the middle of your conversation, maybe you'll make a mistake and you'll say get. It's easy to confuse them. So here it's a bit of a reminder how to use the right verb. So this is the meaning of collocation here. This word collocation. It means the right verb for the right phrase or words. This is the idea. Okay, what about number 4? Overtime?
Work overtime.
Work overtime.
Correct. Number 5, a workaholic?
Be a workaholic.
Be
Yes.
a workaholic.
Correct. Okay, yeah. What about this one? The one about deadlines?
Deadlines. Take deadlines.
That's wrong. It's meet deadlines. Do you see? It's easy to make mistakes here because maybe you try to translate it, but it doesn't always work in the same way in Arabic. Because in English you have to say meet deadlines. So if you want to complain, maybe your company or maybe your department in hospital, maybe you have some deadlines. So if you're talking to your colleague or your friend, you will say, "Ooh, there are so many deadlines we need to meet this week." So it means the department has given you a deadline to maybe submit some papers, finish some kind of assignment. I don't know,
Maybe
finish
yes.
an exam.
Maybe issue memo.
Yeah, there's a memo in the department that all of you need to respond to reply, to complete the form. Anyways, what about number 7?
Take time off work.
Take time off.
Okay. Number 8.
Be under.
Be under.
Okay. Number 9.
Spend
Spend a lot of time at work.
Correct. Spend. And number 10.
Have good working.
Have good working conditions.
Yeah. Everybody wants to have good working conditions where they work. That's correct. Okay, so here in this exercise, in the next part, it says, think of 3 people you know who have jobs, okay? I'd like you to choose maybe phrases to talk about each person. So for example, if I want to talk about my friend Ahmed, I can say, Ahmed is a workaholic. He works overtime, and even when he's not working overtime, he usually works very long hours. And he doesn't have any time to relax at all. So you can use some of these expressions to talk about people you know. You can use them to talk about yourself if you want, but you can also choose a few of them to talk about people you know. The idea here is they want you to think of 3 people you know who have jobs, and you can choose 2 phrases for each person. So who would like to volunteer first? I think
give us some time.
All right, take a minute. Think of a few expressions, and you might need to, of course, you might need to change the verb form depending on the subject. So if you're talking about he or she, of course, you'll say works, meets, right? And verb to be, you'll have to say is, he is, she is, I am. You can't just say be. Do you get the idea?
Yeah.
All right, so take a minute, think a bit of about this, and then you can tell me. Okay, who would like to start?
Yes.
Hajar, okay, go ahead, Hajar.
Okay. My father is a work alcoholic. He spent a lot of time at work, and every time I told him he should have a time to relax.
Okay, nice. That's good. Okay. Okay, what's the difference between these words, Hajar? Between... Okay, let me change the font. It's too big. Let's use this one. Can you read all three of them?
The first one is I don't know how to pronounce exactly. Shopaholic.
Right.
No.
That's correct.
Shopaholic. Yeah. Okay. Alcoholic.
Right.
And
Workaholic.
Workaholic.
Right. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the idea is the original word was alcoholic, but then
alcoholic. They
made
shopaholic. I think to the women.
Yeah, most women are shopaholics. Not all of them.
Yeah.
But many of them. Many of them. Most of them. Okay. Okay. So this is a good, an interesting sentence. Let's listen to someone else. Who else would like to tell us? Malak, go ahead.
Yes. I have time to relax. My brother.
Okay.
My brother gets long hours. Work a long hours.
Does he work or does he works? Is it
father,
work or works?
Yes, works. Yes, works long hours. My father spends a lot of time at work. Spends.
Right. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This is a good example. Who else would like to?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Sana, go ahead.
Okay. My manager is a workaholic and spend a lot of time at work.
Okay.
I have another sentence, but I don't know the. Okay, I will tell you. My coordinator gave me assignment to finish my memo. The deadline will be next week.
Okay. So you have to change the tense. You have to say, my coordinator gave me a memo and the deadline is next week.
Okay.
The first verb gave me because this story is already in the past.
Okay.
He gave you an assignment.
You mean the first of the sentence should be in the past?
It's not about the first or the second. It's about reality. In reality, the story you're telling me about, this is in the past.
Okay.
Because he gave you the assignment. So it's in the past. Anything which happened, even if it's 1 second ago, it's in the past, simple.
Yeah.
Right? So so he gave you an assignment and the deadline is Here we use present simple because a deadline is a scheduled time in the future. For scheduled appointments, fixed appointments in the future, like flights or timetables or exams, we always use the present simple. You can say my exam is next week. We don't say my exam will be or is going to be. We just use present simple because it's been decided and it's been agreed on and it's written and it's scheduled. So we use present simple. So the deadline is next week. Okay, this is also a great example, Sana. Very nice.
Okay, thank you.
All right. What about your example, Ihab? Tell us a little bit about yourself or your friends or maybe family. Ihab, are you there?
Yes, yes. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes. Yes. I have 3 working in my day. I don't have time to relax, and I have work long hours.
Without have, I work long hours.
I work long hours. I meet deadlines. Yes. I be under pressure at work.
Okay, so be. You have to change it. No.
Will be.
No, just a second. You have to change verb to be to talk about yourself. I'm
be.
Without be.
I'm be. Yes.
Forget.
Yes. I'm under pressure at work.
Great.
And I spend a lot of time at work, and I have good working conditions.
Okay, but you can also use negative. You can say I don't have good working conditions, or you can say I don't meet all my deadlines, or you can say I don't work overtime. So here, of course, you have the option. You can use positive and negative to talk about yourself. All right. Okay, who else would you like, Najat, to tell us a little bit about your work?
Okay. I was working at hospital.
Okay, when was this?
Since 2004.
How many years before?
About 15 years.
You worked, you mean continuously for 15 years?
Yes, till now, but I changed the place.
So you mean it's not the same department?
Yes, because the last one, the working condition.
I mean the work condition.
Not suitable,
You mean they were too difficult and you decided to make a change?
Yes.
I see.
I was workaholic. I spent a lot of time at work. I spent over time at hospital than home. I don't have time to relax.
You don't, or you didn't?
I had to work. What?
You don't have time to relax, or you didn't have time to relax?
Yes, I didn't have time to relax. I had to work long hours, more than 30 hours continuous.
Continuously?
Yes, because duty 24 hours and then maybe OT, maybe OBD next day.
Yeah.
I was under a lot of pressure all the time at work.
Yeah, I see.
I changed my place.
And do you like it better now after this new change?
Yes, it's private and it's my husband, the owner.
Ah, that's excellent.
Go as I want.
So you're like a manager without being a manager.
Yes.
This is the dream of every Libyan girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I like the academic now more than practicing the
medicine. Yeah.
my career. Yes.
That's nice. That's good. I think it's important to find the right balance in our lives between, you know, our personal life and our professional life. I think it's very important to balance it. Okay, very nice. So you can see already that the topic of this lesson, they want you to focus closely on work. And this will be the focus of our topic today. Now, here I want you to take a look at the book cover, the cartoon and the photos. What is the book about? So we have a book. This is the cover of the book. And here we have some few photos. Let me see if there's another one. Yeah. So let me show you first of all the book cover. Can you see the book cover? Let me zoom in a little more so you can see what's written.
Yeah.
This is the book cover. Okay, so it's called In Praise of Slow. And then it says how a worldwide movement is challenging the cult of speed. And this is the name of the author, Carl Honoré. Okay, so what do you think the book is about? Even without knowing all the words. And can you see the photos here? What do you see in the photos?
A lot of people.
Okay.
Crowded.
Yes.
Okay.
Crowded.
Yeah.
Crowded in the metro. Crowded in the metro.
Yeah, it looks like a metro station and everybody is rushing. Where are they? Where are they rushing to? Rushing to what? Where are these? Work?
Maybe, yes.
Work.
Okay.
On the morning, work, or after back to the home.
Yeah. So maybe this is the daily commute to work.
Rush hour.
The rush hour. All of these people are going to work, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you see here in this photo, the second photo? What do you see?
Snail
and
turtle.
Is it a turtle or is it a tortoise?
Yes, the two slowly, but one another slowly than another. One slowly than
Slower
other.
down.
Yeah, who's slower?
The snail. Slower down.
The snail is slower.
The snail is slower than the tortoise.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a difference between a turtle and a tortoise.
Turtle.
What's the difference?
Who can tell me what's the difference? What do you think?
The big and small.
Maybe not exactly.
Or different in some form, yeah. Some form in.
Actually, turtles, they usually live in the sea.
In the water, yeah.
In the water.
Yeah.
But a tortoise lives on land. So turtle, tortoise, and this is pronounced tortoise. Okay, but
and the small animal, this is what it called. I don't know.
Snail.
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 I know halazona, but I don't know in English language.
Yeah, it's a snail.
Okay.
But if it's cooked, you don't call it snail. You call it escargot. Because the French like to eat it. Even here in Libya, they eat it. By the way, here in Libya, many people. Yeah, they eat it.
From where?
People eat snails in Libya. Not
really?
A lot.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Not a lot in Libya.
Yeah.
But in Morocco, Tunisia, especially France. France, they love them and they call them escargot. Escargot. They cook them with butter, garlic, and some parsley. and they look delicious.
And you find it in the first-star restaurant.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can order it in first-star restaurants. It's expensive. And هزين عليهم snails لكن هم expensive. In fancy restaurants, they're quite expensive. All right. Anyways, snail. This is when it's alive, of course. It's not when it's not food. We call it snail. So we have a tortoise and a snail, and the snail is saying, "Slow down. What's the hurry?" All right. And let me show you the third photo. Where's this photo? What is this? Can you see it?
I think it's
Mall.
like company or something like that.
Or mall.
Maybe a
And
mall.
there is maybe for
Cafe.
employee there is some place to relax.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Correct. It's a place for employees to relax. But what is the place? Which company? It's written below. Can you see it?
Google
It's
Office.
Google Offices.
Google.
Yeah, exactly. So this is in London. Google offices in London. So this means these are, of course, I think most of them will be employees, right? Maybe there are a visitor, or maybe some interns, new workers who haven't started yet, maybe. But I think most of them are probably employees. All right, so let's get back to this topic. So what do you think the book is about? We saw the cover of the book, we saw the photos, but what do you think the book is about? Or what is it promoting? What do you think the idea of the author is of this book?
We maybe talk about time.
Correct, you're right. It's probably going to talk about time because we have fast and slow. So there's something about time. What else do you think? What about this wording?
Maybe talk about the countries, how to work or something like that.
Okay, but can you see this
The
word?
people live in the country.
So now, what do you think this word means?
Which one?
Can you read
price,
it?
and the price of the slow.
Embrace.
Praise.
Embarrass.
Pra-
Embarrass.
Praise.
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 Yeah, what does this mean? Praise of slow.
Price.
No, I don't know.
It's broad.
Najat, Hajar, have you seen this word before? Praise? No. Okay, when you praise someone or when you praise something, it means you mention the advantages or the good things about a person. So if I say you are a great student, your writing is excellent, your pronunciation is good, your grammar is also very nice, your vocabulary is also good for your level, all of this is praise. It means I'm saying good things about you or about your work or about your...
يمدح يعني.
Yes, مدح أو مديح. This is the meaning of praise. So the name of the book is In Praise of Slow. But is being slow a good thing or a bad thing?
Sometimes it's a good thing.
Bad thing, I think.
It's a bad thing, it's a good thing. Okay, let's hear both opinions.
تأني السلامة.
Yeah, but if a patient is dying, تأني not سلامة, تأني إهمال في العمل, right?
قدر الله ما شاء فعل.
That's
yeah.
There is there is something to the doctors said always in the series. I think احنا درنا اللي علينا والباقي على ربي.
Yeah, and that's kind of
the truth.
but this is a bit of a disaster, right?
No,
So it is, if you think of it, what's the point of a doctor? لو ما دارش حل يعني ما نعمل فيش يموت بروحي. So what's the point of a doctor? Do you get my point?
By some very dangerous.
But you're right. So you see, it's not an easy answer. You can't say being slow is good or bad. So I think it depends on the situation. But I'd like to hear.
Situation.
Depends on the
Or-
situation.
Emergency, yes, we need to be in hurry.
Okay,
But
so
the cold, no.
okay, this is a good thing. So if it's an emergency, we shouldn't be slow.
Cold cases, no.
Yeah, but in a normal case,
Usually transmission.
yeah, even in life in general,
بالضبط.
not just medicine, but in life in general. Why
And
do you...
even in
Go ahead, Sanaya.
even in emergency, there is some situation should be slow. If the fire is in the place, maybe just to go to fast. No, sometimes we need to concentrate where is the place should be go and how you deal with this fire and maybe.
I think the point you're trying to say is not to panic. Now, there's a difference between being between panic and between being fast. What you're saying is panic. Panic is always a bad thing. Panic means you don't know what you're going to do and you just do anything. Mistakes happen when people panic. When, for example, firemen or victims or patients or doctors, panic is always a bad thing. But to be fast, it means you're acting quickly, but you're calm. So I think this is important. You have to be calm. You have to calm down and act quickly. So if you calm down and you act quickly, that's okay.
Yes.
All right. So Hajar, tell us an example where you think being slow is a good thing. Because you said it's a good thing, I think, and Malak said it's a bad thing. I'm interested. I want to see when is it a good thing, when is it a bad thing.
Thing.
What do you think, Ash?
I don't know exactly.
You can't
Panic.
What I said now.
panic. What about panic you have?
Like someone someone stress in stress. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Panic is when someone is under stress. Usually
Yes,
people
under
panic when they're under stress.
Maybe cannot manage it himself.
Correct. Yes, people who panic usually because they can't handle the situation, so they panic. What about Malak? Why do you think being slow is not a good thing, or when is being slow a bad thing in your opinion, Malak?
I think when you have a lot of works to do, and the time is very a little for you.
Sure. Yeah.
You have to, yes, you have to hurry to do things. If you work slow, you maybe you don't do all what you have to do.
True. So if you have a deadline you need to meet, if you're under short time, you need to act quickly, right? So you need to work quickly. Okay. Now we're going to find out. We're going to listen to a very interesting interview. And this interview is going to talk about work culture around the world. Okay. And they'll talk about a few statistics, a few differences. But before we listen, I want you to read number 1 to 6. Take a look at number 1 to 6. And after that, I want you to make a guess. Just guess the right answers. And after that, we'll check them together, okay? So read number 1 to 6 in question number 2, and we can find the answers. Yeah, it's a little noisy where you're staying.
Sorry, I will mute that.
Yeah, and whenever you want to speak or answer, just unmute it so you can join us, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so after everyone reads number 1 to 6, I'd like you to tell me about your guesses. Okay, who'd like to make a guess?
Maybe this compare between the country, how do the people works and how many time they spend in their work.
Correct. That's the point, yeah. It compares different countries, their work culture, how much time they spend at work. But let's start with number 1. So number 1 says people in China or Germany spend 15% less time at work now than in 1980. Do you think this is true in Germany or is it true in China? What do you think?
I think it's in Germany.
Okay.
Even me.
Yes,
All right.
Germany, I think.
Okay. So most of you think it's Germany. And number 2, it says some companies in France or in Italy give their employees 3-day weekends. So
Maybe France.
France?
I think it's Italy.
I think France.
I don't know.
Okay. So let's find out. Let's put both options now. Okay, so it says Europeans or Americans work 350 hours a year more than, so one of them works 350 hours more than the other. Who do you think works 350 hours
Maybe
more?
American.
Maybe American, yes.
You think Americans work 350 hours more a year?
Maybe, yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
You think it's the opposite, Hajar? You think it's the other way around?
No, American.
Okay, so you also think Americans work more than Europeans. Okay, it says 20% of British people work over 50 hours a week or 60 hours a week. By the way, do you know the standard working hours for people in the West? It's 40 hours a week, right? Because in the West, you have a 5-day week because you have the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday are off because it's the weekend. And this means 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week. It means 8 hours a day. This is the normal, typical. So if you have a job, a normal office job, it's going to be 8 hours a day. Does anybody work 8 hours a day in Libya?
Before, maybe yes, because I worked from 8 o'clock up to 3 and a half.
Okay. Does that include a break?
Yes, include the break. The break, I think, half an hour.
Okay, so this means it's 7 hours, right?
Yes.
And do you work 5 or 6 hours a day? 5 or 6 days a week.
5.
So this means if you work 7 hours a day and you work 5 days a week, This means you work 35 hours per week. This is good in Europe because the normal, or I think the maximum for most office jobs, it's 40 hours per week. This is the typical, or you can call it standard office hours, 8 hours a day. This is the normal. But here in point number 4, they're telling you there's a small percentage of people who work more.
20.
So 20% of people work more than this, more than 40, even more than 50 or 60. What do you think? Do you think it's more than
50.
50 or more than 60
50,
hours a
maybe
week?
50.
60, yeah. 60.
All right. So do you know what it means, 50 hours a week? This means if you don't work on Saturday and Sunday, for
I
example,
think
10
60.
hours a day.
60 hours.
10, yeah. This means you work 10 hours a day. Or maybe it means you work at the weekend as well. This is so if you work at the weekend as well, you can, divide the hours more.
Mhm.
So do you think it's 50 or do you think it's 60?
60. 60.
You think it's 60?
Yeah, 60.
All right. Number 5, it says 30% of people in the UK, or 60, we don't know, it might be 30, it might be 60, said they didn't take all their paid holiday. What does paid holiday mean?
Means
It means go out
overtime.
and drink something
عطلة
or eat
مدفوعة.
something. Yeah.
عطلة
Yeah.
يعني يقول لك مدفوعة يعني فيها بالأجر.
How long
When
is
you
the,
work overtime.
but how long is the paid holiday per year? How many weeks?
60.
A month.
It's 1 month. It's
4 weeks, yes.
It's 4 weeks, 1 month. So most jobs in the West, they have a 1 month paid holiday.
Yes.
Even here in the company.
Yeah, and in private
One-
companies, the same.
Yeah.
Most private companies. Yeah. So you have 1 month which is paid, and you can take it off. But most companies don't allow you to take the whole month together. They usually want you to divide their holiday.
Yes.
Anyways, number 6. So what do you think? Is it 30% of British people or is it 60?
60. 60%.
60, okay.
Mm-hmm.
In German or Japanese, there's a word that means death from working too hard. In which language do you think they have this word?
Maybe Japanese.
Maybe in Japanese, they have a word that means death from working too hard. Is that what you think?
Japanese.
What
So-
does this mean, death from working too hard?
It means in the German language or the Japanese language, they have one word which gives this meaning.
Yeah.
For example, there's one word in Libyan which summarizes the Libyan condition, the Libyan mentality, the Libyan feelings, the Libyan everything. Do you know what it is?
Okay.
What is it, Sana?
Delicate, or you mean delicate?
No.
Oh.
I'm talking that in our Libyan dialect, بالليبي يعني عندنا كلمة, there's a word which summarizes the situation of life in Libya, of everything in Libya. It's just one word. What is it?
خشت بعضها.
Okay, that's also correct. But the خشت بعضها, it's 2 words. I think a common word that most Libyan people use.
What?
It's sad, right? If you ask them what's up, how you're
Yeah.
doing, they said it's sad. They tell you it's sad. So actually,
كساد like
yeah.
different.
So, sorry.
Sad.
What?
Exad trouble, I think, and in East or just كساد. كساد.
Kisad. But it's
Yeah,
the
but
same. It's the same. We say it differently, but the meaning is the same, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think this is dangerous, right? Because it shows us that we're not interested in doing anything in life. We're
almost trebly stressed word. Stress in the war. I
uh,
think. I don't know.
no, not really. I don't think so. I don't think work has a very important part in our culture. It's not like in the West. In the West, it's the opposite, because here our
Yeah.
social life and our traditions are still the center of our culture, Libyan culture. It's always
Yeah.
about the family, parents, brothers, sisters, wives, husbands,
Yes.
religion, because we're a traditional society.
interaction and حتى interaction between married West and between Tripoli, Benghazi, interaction between that. So no difference, more difference about that.
Yeah, I
Not
think
like another country in the
true.
world.
Yeah, because in the West, in the UK and Europe and America, for example, Japan,
Yes,
the culture is
different.
it's centered around work. You get the idea? People,
Yeah.
they work is much more important. Anyways, let's listen. Let's listen to this interview. So we have an interview between two journalists. So they're going to talk about Carl Honoré's book, In Praise of Slow. So they're going to discuss his book. And also they'll talk about some of these statistics. So let's listen and let's find out. Okay. Where is it? Let's go. Track number 9. Okay. Let's listen.
Today we're talking about Carl Honoré's book, In Praise of Slow, which tells us that we're all living too fast and working too hard and that we should all just slow down. With me are two journalists, Kim Mayhew and Rob Davis, both workaholics, of course. Kim, what did you think of the book?
I thought it was very interesting and quite funny in places too.
And what about you, Rob?
Well, as soon as I finished it, I decided that I must take more time off work.
Yes, me too. Honoré says people should only work 35 hours a week.
And do you think that's a good idea?
Yes, definitely. Firstly, a lot of people are unemployed these days, as we know. So if everyone worked fewer hours, it might create more jobs.
But according to Honoré, people are already working less in some countries. For example, Germans spend 15% less time at work now than in 1980.
Honoré also believes that we ought to spend more time with our families.
And that's already happening in some countries too, isn't it? It says in the book that some French employees are allowed to begin their weekend at 3 p.m. on Thursday.
Yes, and Honoré also says people can get their best ideas when they're doing nothing. Albert Einstein was famous for just looking into space at his office at Princeton University. And you can't say he didn't have a few good ideas.
Absolutely. Kim, what else interested you about the book?
Well, I was interested to read that Americans work 350 hours a year more than Europeans. But in some American companies, employees can sleep whenever they want. Apparently, they have special rooms where people can go and relax if they're tired.
Really? If we had one here, I'd be in there every afternoon.
Actually, by law, people in the UK are supposed to have a break every 4 hours. But a lot don't, of course. I was also surprised to read that 20% of British people work more than 60 hours a week. We work the most hours in Europe, and it's certainly not making us happier.
Yes, and lots of people have to take work home because they're under a lot of pressure to meet deadlines. Apparently 60% of British people who were interviewed said they didn't take all their paid holiday. No, that's just crazy.
And these days, of course, we're able to continue working when we're travelling. You know, on the train or on a plane or whatever.
Yes, the Japanese even have a word for it. Karoshi, which means death from working too hard.
On that happy note, we'll leave it there.
Okay. What about our guesses?
France is right, not Italy.
Okay.
And
And 60 hours
the other is
difference,
right, I
okay.
think.
Yeah,
Is it 50 or is it 60?
60.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60, not 50. Yeah.
Correct, yeah. So the rest of our guesses are right. So it means that people in Germany work less than they did in 1980. Some companies in France give employees 3 days, a 3-day weekend. Americans work more than Europeans. Some British people work more than 60 hours, which is a lot, right? If you think of it, imagine 60 hours a week. That's crazy. And 60% don't take all their paid holiday, and Japanese have the word. Okay, now I want you to, let's see if we can guess. Let's see if you can remember some of the things you heard. It says, listen to the radio program again. Fill in the gaps with 1 or 2 words. So can you see number 1 to 9? Here in number 3, can you see it on the right side?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see if you can still remember what you heard in the interview. I'd like all of you to read number 1 to 9, okay? Read number 1 to 9 and try to think of the missing word. I don't know if you can see the gap here, but I'll just use here. I'll use a sentence, a line, to show you the missing word.
Can I try?
Yeah, go ahead. You can try.
Okay. Honor says people should only work 35 hours a week.
Okay, so you think it's 35?
Yeah.
Who agrees with Hajar? Who thinks 35 is the right answer?
Yes, 35. I hear this.
You heard the number?
Yeah,
Okay,
35.
let's write 35. And then we can check. What about number 3? So the author, Mr. Honoré believes that we ought to spend more time with who? Who should we spend more time
Our
with?
families.
With families.
You think family?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's write our families. And what about number 4? Some employees are allowed to begin their weekend at
3 p.m.
At 3 p.m.
Okay, so you heard 3 p.m. Number 5, people can get their best when they're doing nothing.
I didn't remember.
What do you think? What did you say, Najat?
Idea.
Idea? You mean ideas?
Yes.
Okay, maybe. Let's write it. Number 6. In some American companies,
Can take a nap.
Can sleep whenever.
Can sleep.
sleep, maybe. Okay, number 7. In the UK, people are supposed to have a break every
4 or 5 hours maybe.
4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours. Let's write 4. Okay. Number 8, Kim says that lots of people have to take what? What do you think?
Work home.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, maybe.
Look, you already answered.
Yeah.
I've already answered it.
Yes.
Where?
When you put the page, but not in this color, in green color.
But I didn't answer it. It was already in the book.
It's already answered.
Yeah, but they're covered.
But green, because I took a screenshot.
Good.
In a green color.
Yeah. The color of the revolution, yeah?
Yes. The color of paradise.
Yeah. Okay. What about number 9?
We're traveling.
Okay. Let's write traveling. Let's listen again. And let's see if the answers are right or not.
Track 9.
Welcome to Cover to Cover. Today we're talking about Carl Honoré's book, In Praise of Slow, which tells us that we're all living too fast and working too hard and that we should all just slow down. With me are 2 journalists, Kim Mayhew and Rob Davis, both workaholics, of course. Kim, what did you think of the book?
I thought it was very interesting and quite funny in places too.
And what about you, Rob?
Well, as soon as I finished it, I decided that I must take more time off work.
Yes, me too. Honoré says people should only work 35 hours a week.
And do you think that's a good idea?
Yes, definitely. Firstly, a lot of people are unemployed these days, as we know. So if everyone worked fewer hours, it might create more jobs.
But according to Honoré, people are already working less in some countries. For example, Germans spend 15% less time at work now than in 1980.
Honoré also believes that we ought to spend more time with our families.
And that's already happening in some countries too, isn't it? It says in the book that some French employees are allowed to begin their weekend at 3 p.m. on Thursday.
Yes, and Honoré also
3
says
p.m.
and get their best ideas when they're doing nothing. Albert Einstein was famous for just looking into space at his office at Princeton University. And you can't say he didn't have a few good ideas.
Absolutely. Kim, what else interested you about the book?
Well, I was interested to read that Americans work 350 hours a year more than Europeans. But in some American companies, employees can sleep whenever they want. Apparently, they have special rooms where people can go and relax if they're tired.
Really? If we had one here, I'd be in there every afternoon.
Actually, by law, people in the UK are supposed to have a break every 4 hours. But a lot don't, of course. I was also surprised to read that 20% of British people work more than 60 hours a week. We work the most hours in Europe, and it's certainly not making us happier.
Yes, and lots of people have to take work home because they're under a lot of pressure to meet deadlines. Apparently 60% of British people who were interviewed said they didn't take all their paid holiday. No, that's just crazy.
And these days, of course, we're able to continue working when we're travelling. You know, on the train or on a plane or whatever.
Yes, the Japanese even have a word for it. Karoshi, which means death from working too hard.
On that happy note, we'll leave it there.
Okay. So, what about the answers? Are they all correct?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, they're correct, yeah. Now, do you...
Sorry, teacher, because I have work now.
No
Excuse
problem.
me.
It's okay, no problem.
It's okay.
Okay, so, do you agree with Carl Honoré? Do you think... And here in Libya, let's talk about first about Libya, and after that, maybe you can talk about the Western system, you know, Europe and America. And so let's talk a little bit about Libya. Do you think we all work too hard and we should slow down?
Of course not.
Of course not. I completely agree. I think. Tell us why not, Hajar. Tell us a little more.
For a lot of time.
Because we didn't work too much, especially the teachers, even the companies.
Mhm.
I think only the people who work hard, maybe the doctors.
And
Mhm.
some
No,
private
No, even
companies,
even
No,
they
companies.
have a strict rule.
But
You have
not that hard as the other countries does. Even
But even not
in the companies here.
But even is not only the doctor, even there is an engineer in the field, and there is worked in the desert, and even this is work. It's hard, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
not all of them. The
Not all.
doctors
Yeah.
work very hard. Because you go to the hospital at 11 o'clock, you don't see any doctor. You wait the doctor a lot of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I think I agree with the point that private companies here in Libya, they work more than the public sector, more than you know, government
No,
employees. I
No,
think this is true.
even the public company. I worked in the Mabruk oil operation company, and I worked from. I think it's hard, and there is a policy for this working hours, and I think.
Yeah, it's you know what, this policy is only for junior employees. Do you know what it means, junior employees?
You mean المبتدئين? You mean?
Yes.
No.
الباشوات الكبار they don't work, believe me.
No.
لو يختموا ليبيا بشكي شكلها. So I think
maybe it's not the manager in the company. Maybe you mean the
head of departments.
Yeah, maybe, but in our company, no.
Was it public or private?
No, public.
Was it and which company was this? The one you're talking about?
Mabruk Oil Operation Company.
Mabruk, is it public?
Oil Operation Company.
Is it public?
Yes, public. Yes. Share between the NOC and the Total.
Total is not public. Total is Spanish.
Yeah, but we the employee زي ما نقولوا احنا لينا علاقة بالمؤسسة يعني.
Yeah.
The relationship with the and even our salary from the NOC.
Yeah, like this is just
because the percentage of the NOC it's more than the total.
Is it 51?
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
I used to teach students from Akakos, the Akakos oil operations, and they don't work. And I also taught students in 2013 in the NOC near Trig Sika. Do you know Trig Sika?
Yeah.
The very big building, that building.
Yeah.
They don't work. It's like a huge mall.
Yeah.
Nobody works.
I know some people from there.
Yeah.
My colleague, and leave his work at 1 o'clock. They pray Dhuhr in his home.
Yeah.
But for me, no, I don't see anything like this in my company.
That's why I said maybe because you're a junior employee, maybe you just started or you're still young. That's what they do for the new employees. But
it's not. It's only me. Not only me. Even my manager and coordinator and really.
Are you saying is the work? Is the workload big or are the hours long? Because there's a big difference. If it's just long hours, I can understand that. Yes, maybe they make you work full shift, like full 7-8 hours. But in these full 7-8 hours, is it really hard, or are you just sitting in an
No.
office?
No, sometimes there is a work and there is something to do, but sometimes no, independent sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I have, even in the beginning of the years, I have like evaluation and put it my plan in whole year and how to achieve this plan
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and how achieve my goal.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I don't know. Even when I compare with the other company, I feel there is a difference between my company and another company.
Yeah.
But,
So maybe you're the exception to the rule, maybe. But I also agree with what Hajar said. Even if what you're saying is true, and you might be right that it really is long working hours, this is still nothing compared to work abroad. Work abroad is no joke. I've got friends who, some of them live in Canada, some of them live in the UK. It's nothing. It's completely different. When
Even
they say
Tunis,
work, yeah,
Tunisia.
even Tunisia, correct. That's true. When you go to work, you become like a workhorse. They work you like a horse. There's no joke. If you're in the office, you have to do something. They'll always keep you doing tasks. You can't just sit in the office and do nothing. But here in Libya, and most companies, even private ones, I worked for a while in a medical as a medical representative. There isn't much work, to be honest. You just visit doctors. It's very light work. It's not the same as what they're talking about here in Japan or in America. You know, I think they take it much more seriously. But I think Libya is slowly changing. Work is becoming more serious, I think, if you compare today in 2020. I'm talking about, of course, private companies, because they're following the same procedures in HR and the system and the administration, and using your fingerprint for when you come and when you leave, and breaks, and it's becoming a little more organized with private companies.
Even me in a public company, I have the fingerprint and except nowadays because the COVID-19.
Yeah.
But before, no.
Yeah. Some banks also work a lot. Private banks, some of them. Public banks, of course, they don't work. Jumhuriya, and they're a disaster. Nobody works.
Yes.
You can't do anything. So most public sectors, they don't work very well, I think.
Believe me, doctor, there is a problem here in Libya. The work only for one person, not to divide the work in the lots of person. If there is the person, you will you can manage your work and you can do what you want. If this person absent, you cannot do anything. You get what I mean?
Yeah, you're trying to say that the biggest problem is that there's only one person to do the task. And if the person is not there, the task you won't be able to do it.
Yes, this is the problem in the public company or public like banks.
Yeah, I think the problem is, I agree with you. I think this is true, but I think the real problem is even a lot bigger. I think every employee in the public sector, he's not providing a service for the country. He's providing a service to his wife and children. That's all. That's all. So the only people who are getting an advantage from his position in an oil company or in a hospital or in a field or in a bank is his close family, his mother, father, sons, daughters, maybe a brother if it's a good relationship, and sometimes even the brother, no. And maybe, that's it. That's all. Nobody works for the public. Do you get the idea? It's a cultural thing because of our culture. It's cultural, yeah. So these cultural things
It's a
are
genetic, it's like a genetic.
it's really hard. I think it will take a very, very long time. I don't think it's easy to. So we have a very nice answer for this question. So I think for us it's the opposite. We have the opposite problem of what they're talking about here in the lesson. Now let's move on to the grammar part of the book. Now the grammar part of the lesson. The problem is it's already answered. Okay, let me try to check them here. Okay, can you read the question? Who can read the first question? It says, look at the sentences. Okay, let me change the view. Maybe it's better. So we can see both of them together, both pages. Let me show you both pages. Okay, this way we can see the questions we just answered. All right, so the question says, look at the sentences in number 1 to 9 and then answer these questions. All right, so let's try to answer this. Okay, so the focus of this exercise, of course, is talking about different ways. Let me just a second. Where is it? Okay. So here we want to use all the bold phrases on the left side, the ones that we used on the left, and we want to use them to express possibility, maybe ability, expectation, when you expect someone to do something. What is it? Let me change this. Permission. We also use it to say that something is necessary and also to give advice. Now, of course, we can use can to talk about ability or possibility, right? So who can give me an example of using can as to demonstrate possibility?
I can't do it.
This is ability.
I can drawing pictures.
I can draw pictures. This is ability.
Yeah.
I want possibility.
You want possibility.
This is a bit of a trick question, by the way.
I may.
No, we had elementary.
What did you say, Najat?
We had it before.
For possibility?
Yes.
Oh, maybe. Okay. What did you say, Malak? You said may or something.
We use mate. May.
May.
Or mate. I made drawing, reading 3 books a day.
I want possibility with can. You have to use can.
Okay. You cannot stop here.
This is not possibility. This is prohibition. Prohibition.
Possible or not possible?
No, possibility, it means when something is optional, when you can do something in an optional way.
I'm
Can you
able to.
come with me?
And this is a request.
Answer to.
Okay. Yeah, because you don't have the green answers now, right, Najat? This question doesn't have the green answers. Okay.
I'm able to
Be able
drink
to.
a lot. Able to.
Able to is good, but able to is for possibility, actually.
Yes, you want possibility.
Yeah, but I want it with can. I want it with can.
Can you answer, please?
Yeah, I'll answer it. I'll give you an option. Here's the option. For example, I want you to tell me which one is ability and which one is a possibility.
Okay. I can't draw a picture of it.
Sorry.
The first one is ability.
Yes.
Okay.
And the second one is possibility.
Right. Correct. Hello, Sumaya, can you hear us? I don't know if you can hear us. Sumaya, I think you have to ما نسمعوش فيك احنا. You have to لازم تعديلات المايك. جربي leave the room and come back. وأعطي الإذن, give permission to the microphone. This way you can talk. Okay? Because we can't hear you. Maybe you can hear us, but you can't hear us. Let me write it here. So the second one is possibility. Do you get the idea? So can, it can be used in both ways. It can be used for ability and it can also be used for possibility. You can use it in both ways. So there's another thing that we can use for ability and possibility. Not only can, there's another one. Something else. What is it? I think Malak, you answered it.
Able to.
Yeah. So we use can and we use able to describe or to show ability. So if you say I'm able to run 10 kilometers or I'm able to do that task in 50 minutes.
Written as be able to.
Yeah, to be able to. Yeah, correct. There's also be, verb to be, yeah. Because you have to say I'm able to, he's able to, she's able to. Yeah, she's able to. Let's write it here. All right. The next one, it says when, and of course you can always look at the examples here. If you check the examples in the previous exercise, so you can use these to answer, of course. It says we use something to say a person is expected to do something.
Supposed to.
Right. So if you're supposed to. So if you're supposed to do something, it means you're expected to do it. So who can give me a good example with supposed to? So let's write them this way, it's easier. Able to. Okay, who can read the example in number 7 here? In the UK,
people are supposed to have a break every 4 hours.
right. So in the UK, people are supposed to have a break every 4 hours, right? So this is how we use supposed to. So when we use supposed to, does it always mean that the thing happened, or the thing happens, or it's not necessarily true that the thing that's expected to happen happens? What do you think?
Yeah, it's expected.
But when you expect something to happen, does it always happen or not necessarily?
No, not
No,
necessarily.
not
No, not
necessarily.
necessary.
That's it. That's the idea, right? So here, when it says in the UK, people are supposed to take a break every 4 hours, this isn't really true, because not all companies do this. Not all companies follow policy. It's the same thing here in Libya. We're supposed to work 8 hours, but nobody really does it. So who can give me an example similar to that?
You are supposed to speak English.
All the time, for example. Yes, or there's an even better example. Let me write it. Well, okay, your example is great. Let's write this one. We're supposed to speak in English all the time. Okay, so this is expectation. All right, good. So it says we use something and something. We use something and something to say we have permission to do something. So which ones show permission here? What do you think?
Are
Allowed to.
Allowed to?
Are
Yeah,
allowed to.
correct. Yeah, and what else? What else? Which other one do you think?
Allowed to.
Have to.
Have to.
I don't think so.
Have permission.
Have
Can.
to when it's something.
To say we have permission. You can.
Right. So very good. We can also use can. Because here, if you see number 6, can you see number 6?
Yes.
In some American companies, employees can sleep wherever they want, whenever they want. So this means you have
They have a permission.
Yeah, they can do it if they want. But if they don't want to, they don't have to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we have must and something else to show.
Have to.
Have to.
Correct.
Have to, yes.
Yeah. So we use must and have to show that something is necessary. There's actually a small difference between must and have to. Who knows it?
Yes. It's must person.
Okay.
Person. Have
How?
to. Come on.
Can you give us an example? Najat? An example of Must.
For example, you have exam, you must read.
Okay. Can you say you have to read? You have to study?
You have to read. You have to read. No, after must verb infinitive.
Oh yeah, of course, all of them use infinitive. All modal verbs use infinitives, you're right. But the small difference is that with must, usually the obligation is from yourself. It's
Yes, Rob says he must take more time off work. Number one.
All right, okay. Yeah, Rob says he must take more time off work because he's talking about himself. You get the idea? So if the obligation is self-imposed, it means you impose the obligation on yourself. We say must. For example, you can say, I must take care of my health. I need to exercise more because I must take care of myself. Do you get the idea? So in this situation, the obligation is imposed. You're imposing the obligation on yourself. But if you're imposing it on someone else, for example, a mother can say to her children, you have to study hard. Because she's going to impose her obligation on them. All right? Anyways, last one, to give advice. Sumaya, hello, can you hear us, Sumaya? Are you there? I think you should hear us now. Okay, so what about the last post? The last post. Ought to and?
Should.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So ought to, it's a bit too British, ought to, because Americans don't really use it.
Yeah. My first time I hear it.
Yeah, it's a very British word. Americans used to use it in the past, but not anymore. Even British people don't use it too much now. But you might hear it now and then. You might hear it, but it's the same as should. Okay. So the point.
Doctor, if you read the last point, because I lost my connection.
Yeah, no problem.
I heard about the must and the have to. What's the difference between both of them? But I ought to and should know.
Okay, ought to and should. We just mentioned that ought to is a little more traditional. It's a little older, and British people use it more than Americans. That's all. Yeah.
Okay.
But you're completely free to just use should, and should is replacing it. To be honest, should is becoming a much more popular.
More familiar.
More familiar than ought to. All right,
Okay.
so now we talked about different ways of expressing ideas. So you can express ability or possibility using can and able to be able to. So you can say, I'm able to, he's able to, we're not able to, and so on. Supposed to is when you expect someone to do something, right? So you can say, for example, doctors are supposed to take care of their patients. Sana, are you moving your mic? Because it's making a noise.
Okay.
All right. So supposed to is when you expect someone to do something. So you say you're supposed to.
من المفترض.
Yes. It's a bit of an expectation. I think that's correct, yeah. Must and have to, we talked about them. We also have permission. You're allowed to leave. You're not allowed to leave. You can leave anytime you want. So we can use both of them to show permission. And the last one we talked about ought to and should. Okay, now I want you to take a look at the verb forms in bold in number 3, okay? Answer these questions. So do we use the infinitive or verb plus ing after these verbs? From the examples here, number 1 to 9 on the left.
Infinitive.
No, it's infinitive.
Right, it's infinitive. So if you check all of them,
Yeah.
we say must take, infinitive. Should work, infinitive. Ought to spend, again, infinitive. Allowed to begin, infinitive. Can get, infinitive. Can sleep, infinitive. Right? So in all of them we have infinitive. Have to,
Yes.
take, supposed to, have, able to continue. So in all the examples we use infinitives. Okay, which ones include to? Because not all of them have to. Which ones have to?
Have to.
Allowed
Supposed
to.
to.
Have
Ought
to,
to.
Allowed to.
have to, ought
Able
to,
to.
able
Able
to,
to.
allowed to.
Most of them.
So
Only
allowed
can,
to,
should, must.
most of them are supposed to, have to, also has to, and ought to. But must, should, can, don't have to, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now the question is how to make it into negative.
Just add not.
Not, yeah. You are
Okay.
not allowed to use my phone, for example.
Okay, so this is the negative of allowed. You're not allowed to use my phone. All right.
Yes.
What about you mustn't? You mustn't be late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about should?
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't drink too much Pepsi. Okay. What about you have to?
You haven't.
You haven't to.
What do you think, Najat?
Don't have to.
Why? It's correct, by the way, but why?
Because of present simple.
Yes, exactly, because have to is a form of, it's a form of present simple. Yeah, it follows the same rules as present simple. I have to, you have to, she has to, he has to, I don't have to, she doesn't have to. Do you get the idea?
Okay.
All right, so so it's a form of, are you who's playing with paper, Sana? Are you playing with the book?
No, teacher, is not from my side this noisy. Really, because I shut down the mute and even I hear this sound.
Okay, let's try. Okay, can you mute
Okay,
it, Sana?
I will.
We have another criminal. It means Hajar or
You
Najat.
always told me you are noisy.
because this is my first impression on you. So in my head, it's programmed Sana, intermediate, noisy mic. They come together. That's how I classify students.
Okay, I
So
will.
you're innocent. Yeah, you're innocent this time. But someone else, I think it's Najat, because sometimes
I'm in safe place. No.
No, the noise is not.
Noise from.
It's there's a paper sound like. Malak has
Me
a book.
too. I put the.
Malak's the one who has a book. Where's Malak? She's offline. Okay. All right. So, anyways, so this is the negative. So, don't have to. We don't have to. They don't have to. She doesn't have to. What about able to? What's the negative of able to?
Are not able to.
Correct. We're not able to. We're not able to. That's right. What about supposed to? We're supposed to, or people are supposed to.
I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, we're not supposed to. What about ought to?
Join the
not.
group.
What about ought to?
Not out
We
to.
ought
No.
to, not
Not ought to.
out, not ought to. I think it's like you have to. No.
Okay, so we don't know how to use ought to. It's a bit different because we haven't used it before, but we'll check it in the summary, so don't worry about it. What about number 4 here? It says, how do we make questions? Let's start with number 1. Who can make it into a question?
Easy, can and should and put it in the first.
Okay, so you can just put it, but can we do it with all of them?
No,
No.
Can you give me an example?
like able, مثلا, are you able to?
Okay,
do
so
you
this is
able
correct.
to?
Are you able to work at home? Are you able to work at home? This is correct. What about have
And
to?
have,
Do
مثلا,
you have
who
to?
always have to.
How can you make have to into a question?
Do and does.
Do you?
Okay, can you give us an example?
Do you
Do you
have?
have to work
Do you have to work on
at
Sundays at home?
Tomorrow.
Do you have to work tomorrow? Okay, good. So we also have to. What about supposed to?
Are you supposed to?
Correct.
Are you allowed?
Are you allowed? Are you
yeah.
supposed to? It's the same because you start with verb to be, right?
Because yes,
Yeah.
verb to be.
Yeah.
But ought, we don't know.
So ought to, we still don't know
Ought
how
to
to make
is-
it into a question, and we don't know how to make it into negative. What about must? How
Yeah.
can we make it into a question?
Like can.
We put it in the beginning.
Yes.
Okay, so we can say, must you be here? Must you finish your homework? It's a bit weird, right? You think it's correct? It sounds a little funny.
I think no.
No?
I think.
Okay, what about should? How can we make it into a question?
Like can and.
In the beginning, should they arrive here? Should they? Is that okay? All right, so we need to also
No.
check. No?
No,
Do you?
I don't think so. Should must be in the beginning of the question.
But how can you make it into a question?
I can't remember. I know what it is, but I forget it.
Because logically, they're from the same family as can. They're modal verbs. So maybe they should.
Yeah, but not all modal verbs can be in the beginning of the question.
Maybe change it to shall. Shall we go? Shall we?
Maybe shall.
No.
Do you think we should change it to shall?
No.
One possibility.
I think shall and will another.
It's another modal verb.
Yeah, not modal verb. Will and shall.
Will and shall are actually modal verbs.
Okay.
Yeah, they're from the same family as can and should and might.
But
and
if you see this number 2, Horner says people should only work 35 hours a week. Maybe I don't know, but I can try. The people should working.
No. Why you use it? Should do the people should? Should we go? علينا أن نحن should
right?
use as can
So there's no need for using
as the others.
do, right, Sana?
Yes.
Okay, so this means we need to check this in the summary and we need to find out how to make it into questions. Now, the last part of this exercise is complete the rules with mustn't or don't have to. So here we have these two interesting examples. Okay, let me cover it. Okay, can you read the first two examples in blue here?
We mustn't send personal emails from the office.
We can only send work emails. We don't have to.
حرف negative.
Yeah, this is a negative.
I don't have to.
So it says we use one of these, mustn't or don't have to say something isn't necessary. Which one do you think is for something that isn't necessary?
Number 2, don't have to wear a suit. Work.
Who agrees with Najat? Who thinks that's right?
I think yes. Not necessarily.
Yes. So when you say you don't have to wear a suit to work, but you can if you want to. It's to show that something is not a necessity. It's not necessary. It's optional. If you want to, we're not going to say you can't. You can if you want to. It's up to you, but you don't have to. Right? So this is the idea. So this means don't have to, we use it to show that something isn't necessary. Now, mustn't is to show that something is not allowed, right? So when something is not allowed, we call it prohibition. Prohibited, something which is prohibited, prohibition. Yes. So smoking is prohibited on airplanes. You mustn't smoke on planes. We can't say you don't have to smoke. You don't have to smoke, it means everybody can smoke. So we can say you mustn't, or we can even use can in the negative. You can't smoke.
Must غير mustn't.
Yeah, it's very different.
Helba.
Yeah, must is an obligation, but mustn't is prohibition. It means something is not allowed. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
Okay, now I think it's important for us to check the summary, to check any tips, and also to find the negative of ought to, and also to see this part of the one about questions, because these were, this was the last part. I think this was the only part we didn't answer, so we want to find out the answer to number 3 and 4. Let's take a look at the summary. Let's find out. Okay, here we are. So, be able to, be supposed to be allowed to, and some modal verbs. So this is the summary we finished in the beginning. So can, must, have to, should, and ought to are modal verbs. Of course, we have others. We have shall, we have can, could, shall, should, will, would, might, may. All of these are modal verbs, okay? So if you want to talk about ability or possibility, you can use can and able to be able to. To be supposed to is for an expectation. It's to show that something is expected from a person. Parents are supposed to take care of their children. Okay, next part. So we have can to show permission, can and allowed to be allowed to. This is permission. Must and have to for necessity, to show something, to show that something is necessary. Then we have should and ought to. This is for advice, right? There's a nice tip it says here. We can use have to, or have got to. So it's optional. You can say have to, I have to leave, or you can say I've got to leave, especially if you're British. British, I think, use I've got to leave, maybe a little more. Here it is. I've got to. It's very common in spoken English. So this means if you go to the UK, it's very likely this is what you'll hear. They'll probably say, I've got to. I've got to leave. I've got to call my mother. I've got to. So they might add got, but it's the same. You can just say, I have to, I've got to. There's no difference. Okay. Now it says here that must and have a very similar meaning. They're not very different. So I must go and I have to go. You know, there isn't much difference really. But of course, have to is a little more common. Must is a bit like ought to. It's becoming a little more traditional now. Everybody uses have to. It's more common. Okay, it says we can't use must in the past. To say something was necessary, we use had to. This is had to. It shows necessity in the past. So if you want to talk about your childhood in school, you can say, when I was a child in school, we had to do lots of exams. When I was a child in school, we had to do all our homework, for example. So this is a necessity in the past. I had to go to 3 meetings yesterday. All right. Okay, so very quickly, must, you cannot use it in the past. There's no past form of must. Here we are. These are the questions. Can you see them?
Yes.
So,
go.
must you go? Should he go? Ought we to go? Do you see how weird it is? It's quite weird. It's a bit strange, right? The last part. We ought to go. We ought not to go. Ought we not? Ought we to go? It's so weird. My advice is, you know, it's a little, if it feels confusing, just use should. It's much more common to use should. All right. And here you can even see it here. There's actually an important tip, and this is one of the reasons why maybe you couldn't find ought to, or you couldn't use it in a question form. Do you see what it says here? We don't usually use ought to in the question form. We just say, do you think? Do you think I ought to call him? Do you get the idea? So it is correct if you say, ought we to go, or ought we to buy the car, or ought we to whatever, ought we to infinitive. It's correct grammatically. It's just really strange. It's awkward. Do you know this word, awkward? Awkward.
Yeah, it means weird, like weird.
بالليبي عندنا احنا ابصر كيفك. ابصر كيف. Okay, awkward is ابصر كيف بالليبي. So, you know, it doesn't feel, it feels a little strange, weird. This is the meaning of awkward. So ought in questions is awkward. In my opinion, ought على بعضها كلها هي awkward. It's not very common. If you hear it in, for example, a historical drama or a period series, for example, from the 19th century, or Pride and Prejudice, or any of Jane Austen's novels, or it feels natural in that setting because it's a little old. But in a modern setting, it feels weird. Anyways, if you really want to use it, just use do you think, قبلها. Say, do you think? And when you use it like this, it sounds like should. Do you think I should call him? Do you think I ought to call him? This form is still used in the UK until today. You might hear British people use it. Do you think I ought to call him? Do you think I ought to buy that book? This is okay. So this is the only part we couldn't answer. باقي كله جاوبناه. What are we supposed to do? You aren't allowed to go. He isn't able to come. هذا الجزء كله جاوبناه صح. Does she have to go? I don't have to go. This is also clear. Using have to, we have to use do and does. Can you see it? Because it's present simple, like we agreed. All right, so I think this part is clear. Let's see the very last part. We also answered mustn't. Oops. Where did it go? Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is the last part. We don't use ought to, هذه درناها. Okay, we also answered this one. Don't have to. Something isn't necessary. Mustn't. This is something that's not allowed.
Not allowed.
Okay, so the last part is repeated. موجود حتى غادي. To say something wasn't necessary in the past, we say I didn't have to. I didn't have to. هذه مش موجودة في الدرس كان موجود the positive form. So I had to. Yeah, I had to do a lot of exams when I was a student. Right? So this is the positive. But if you want to use negative, you can say I didn't have to think about work when I was 10 years old, right? So here you're showing something that wasn't necessary in the past. Didn't have to. Had to, didn't have to. I think that's all. So this means we're done for today, but let me just very quickly take you back and show you some of the things, a quick preview of our next lesson. So I'll just show you what we'll cover in our next lesson. Page display, enable scrolling. Okay. Okay, so in our next lesson, we're going to use all of these rules, the ones that we covered today, to be able to be supposed to, be allowed to, and also modal verbs. We will cover all of these and we'll use them in this very nice conversation between two people, between Kim and Rob. These are the first people we heard in the radio interview. So we'll hear them complete their conversation. Of course, we'll try to choose the correct answer. We'll listen to it. Maybe you can talk a little bit about yourself and you can describe some rules at work, your school, your university. Of course, you can use allowed to, able to, can, should, ought to. You can use all of these expressions to talk about these things. And after that, we'll talk about foods, street food. So I think it's an interesting topic. Okay, so that's all for today. I apologize that we started so late. I'm sorry. I just got a little stuck with something. But I'll catch up with you, inshallah, in our next lesson. Hopefully next time we'll start on time. So I apologize again. And I'll try to find the right copy of the workbook because the one I sent you is not the right one. I downloaded, I found another one. So I'll send you the other one, okay?
Okay.
All right, so good night, everyone. Have a good night. And
You
I'll see
too.
you. You're welcome.
Good night.
You too. Bye.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you on Wednesday.